Today we're going to be raising Sucrose. Sucrose is a really interesting character. She's one I've been wanting to raise for a while now, so without further ado, I think she is already like level 60, so it shouldn't take too long to get her to 80. We have been farming the hurricane seeds pretty religiously for a little bit here, so it shouldn't be too big of an issue. Let's just go ahead and start with leveling her up. There is 70, and what do we need for the next ascension? No hurricane seeds, because we got those. Just some big energy nectars. Oh man, I haven't been farming whopper flowers like ever. I just actually run away from them when I see them because I hate fighting them. But also those can probably just be crafted. Let us head to the crafting station. We need these. It was like 6, whatever. 7 works too. Yikes. Thankfully we have a couple of small ones, but she also needs those for talents. So, well, we haven't purchased them from the shop yet. I forgot how many we need here. We're just gonna grab 6. And we are using Sucrose for our bonus as it is Sucrose Day. She actually did give us one. Very nice. And there we go. 5th star, level 80. Talents will definitely need some work. Thankfully, her books are open today if we don't have enough. Usually, I like to get the important skills up to at least 8 for the raising mode. So we're going to try and do that. Looks like we're also running a little bit low on nectar still. So granted, we're still only using Stardust. I would say it's perfectly fine to grab them from here since we have so much extra still. And yeah, we're running really low on all of the freedom books. Shouldn't be too bad, shouldn't take so long. I won't bore you with too much of the farming, just what drops from the domain. We probably will need to use all 5 of our condensed resin here, but we got super lucky straight off the bat with 2 purples. Got another purple. I mean, in the beginning we do mainly want, silvers and brown. I guess since Sucrose is a 4-star, typically I would get her talents to 9 instead of 6 as usual because, she's C6 and has the +3 on her talents. No purples that time, but it's fine. Still no purples. Let's do this last condensed and check where we're at. And finally, still no purples. Well, let's see. It's kind of hilarious how long I've been raising characters that it's easiest to find a character when I scroll to the back and my level 80s are still like, near the beginning. And then there's just one page here of 10 characters, and those are the only ones under 80. Just 10 characters left to raise. I'm sure we'll have more characters by the time I get to those, but yeah. So let's see what we're doing here. I don't think like Sucrose's skills are all that necessary to raise in general. I think the utility like the CC and the orb generation is going to be more important than the actual damage multipliers. So I don't think it's super important to raise them like very high. Maybe 8 would be good enough. We can go and raise her basic just because, although I don't plan to really basic with her. So we're going to do a quick overview of her skills. This is something I like to do for raised videos, although I think I'm not being as consistent as I should be with that. Sometimes I just kind of assume everyone knows what's going on. Regardless, I always have timestamps in the YouTube player and in the description if you want to skip this portion. Sucrose as a Catalyst user will deal animo damage with her basic attacks. Pretty typical Catalyst type, basic attacks there. Nothing really to talk about. Her skill is kind of like a mini version of her burst in a way. It does have some CC there. I would say it's probably most useful in Abyss stages where you have the defense ley line. It basically interrupts the enemy's attacks and kind of launches them in the air a bit. Of course, this also deals damage, and at a certain constellation, you get an extra charge of this. It is actually at C1, yeah. And because of that, Sucrose in general is quite good for elemental particle or energy generation. And then yeah, her burst is basically a bunch of her skills, but it sucks in enemies instead of just interrupting them. So it can kind of get them away from this defense pillar or just whatever, keep them not attacking you for a while. And she's consistently doing animo damage in a pretty big area, makes it easy to swirl, and that's going to be important because of her passive skills. So she'll give 50 elemental mastery to everyone who has the same element she is swirling. So let's say you have a Klee or a Hu Tao or whatever, and you hit them with the pyro attack. Sucrose swirls that, and then those pyro characters will have 50 extra elemental mastery, which can make a pretty big difference if you don't have a ton already. Her second passive is kind of in the same vein, although a lot easier and simpler to understand. Essentially, when an enemy is damaged by her skill or burst, everyone will have their elemental mastery increased by 20% of her or Sucrose's elemental mastery. So that's basically Sucrose's talents. We're going to talk about Constellations really quick. As we already discussed, 1 additional charge, C1 is very nice. C2 extends her burst by an additional 2 seconds, which might not sound like a lot, but I'm pretty sure that gives it enough time to do 1 additional, like swirl explosion. I don't see the value in C4 as I'm probably not going to be basic attacking with her all that often. I think I have other characters that should be doing the basic attacking in this case because I do find her as mostly a support. But essentially her burst's cooldown will get reduced by 1 to 7 seconds, so there's a bit of RNG there apparently, for every 7 normal or charge attacks she hits opponents with. And then C6 is kind of like her passives, this elemental absorption. I don't know if that's different from swirl. Honestly, I think it's basically the same thing. But yeah, for example, pyro characters will have a 20% elemental damage bonus. Definitely something. So we're going to be taking a look at all of that stuff as well, just to make it, you know, more clear. So with all that said, how are we going to build her? Typically, I would recommend Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers. It's just a nice little book. You know, you swap to Sucrose, then you swap to your main DPS. They get 48% attack increase for 10 seconds. You can't go wrong. It's a nice suggestion. It's a 3-star book. Everyone's going to have it. To be honest, I kind of forgot how Sacrificial Fragments works with multiple charge skills, so I want to try that, but I think it might be useless. Just as a little test, though. Let's just go ahead and start with that before I forget. So there we go. Still has a cooldown. As you can see, it may have just not procced though. And there we go. We actually have an additional charge, so we could do it 3 times potentially. Let's go ahead and try that once more. So there we go. We still have the 2 charges, so yeah, we can essentially do it 3 times, regardless if it happens on the first or second one. So I'd say Sacrificial definitely isn't bad if you need more energy generation. But if not, you know, Thrilling Tales is always a good option. Perhaps later in the video, we'll try building her as a DPS just for fun, but yeah, for now, I think we're going to stick with Thrilling Tales. As for artifacts, I'd have a strong focus on Elemental Mastery, followed by Energy Recharge. Any other offensive stats like crit rate, crit damage, attack, whatever, are just going to be more of a bonus rather than a necessity, at least while we're building her as a support. Viridescent is a typical choice for most animo characters. You know, Elemental Resistance decreased by 40% is pretty big. So we're going to sort it first by Elemental Mastery and then Energy Recharge. I love that new sort feature. And we're probably just going to steal Kazuha's stuff here. I know Kazuha is built with a massive amount of Elemental Mastery. For Sans, we will go ahead and go Elemental Mastery as well. And for Circlet too. Goblet will be our off piece here. Apparently, I've only ever raised 1 Elemental Mastery Goblet, which is kind of fair enough. In most cases, you do want the character's elemental attribute there, or physical, but yeah. So our Sucrose is currently rocking 625 Elemental Mastery. Pretty pitiful crit damage, whatever. That's not what's important here. I'm surprised her Energy Recharge is so low, since that was our second priority. Maybe we can swap something out, because I think I do want more Energy Recharge than that. Well, we just swapped around a couple artifacts. Yeah, we're up to 135, which still isn't enough. I would like at least 150 or so, but I think it'll be fine. She did give up a little bit of Elemental Mastery. Now she's at 560. Which I think will still be enough. So let's first do a little test on our second passive here, see how much Elemental Mastery our Hu Tao gets when she hits the opponent. So our Hu Tao is currently at 142. We're just gonna hit these little slimes with an E. There we go. Let's check our Hu Tao. She is now at 254. That's I didn't do the math beforehand, but that's a much bigger jump than I was expecting. That's all we did. We just went up to the enemy and slapped them with an E. Almost doubled our Elemental Mastery. And that's just one of her passives. We could get an additional 50 if we light them on fire first. Okay, good. And then we're gonna do that. Nice little swirl. And yes, indeed, our Hu Tao is now a little over 300 Elemental Mastery. Because of course, when you do the swirl, both of her passives proc at the same time. Sadly for her C6 and this 20% elemental damage bonus, we need to use her burst. But using her burst should proc not only C6, but also her 2 passives, because this one doesn't matter if you're using skill and burst, and this one is just a swirl. So currently our Hu Tao's pyro is at 94.6%. Let's go ahead and try the same thing again, but this time using her burst. And there we go. That should have been a swirl right there. Still has the 300 Elemental Mastery, but also now 114 pyro damage bonus. So yeah, some very nice buffs for our Hu Tao there, for sure. So the general rotation would be Zhongli Shield, Benny to light them on fire, Sucrose, maybe her burst if I had it ready, but we're gonna go ahead and do them both and then just start, you know, hitting enemies with Hu Tao because she has these buffs at this point. Naturally, I would have like Water Dude in there for Vaporize or something, but in this specific team, I kind of need Benny to light them on fire first, so could just be Hu Tao is not the best for like Animo swirls. So we're gonna do the first couple floors of Abyss, and as for team selections for Sucrose, well, most of the way I've been using her is just as an orb generator or a particle generator for someone like Xiao. Xiao is very hungry for orbs, although he won't really take much advantage of her passives like our Hu Tao did. Hu Tao is not a super good example of that because you also need someone to infuse them with Pyro. I had Binny, which isn't a super good partner for Hu Tao either because Binny heals her. Someone else like Yoimiya, she can do her burst and then you can swap to Sucrose to swirl and then swap back and do her E, for example. Or Yanfei, I mean, all of her attacks are Pyro, so you could just do a basic, swap to Sucrose, do her stuff, and then yeah, she has the bonuses also. Although in this case, Binny is a pretty good partner for Yanfei, so that kind of solves that problem also. So we could go for a team like this, you know, Water Dude there for the Vaporize. Using her with Xiao though is pretty straightforward. Like I said, she's basically there for particle generation. All right, let's go ahead and give this a try. So we started with Water Dude there, although that is a little bit of a problem as they're not really, here we go. We might be able to, all right, so we are starting this up now. I've kind of run into an issue because Water Dude is always messing up the Pyro. That's just something I didn't really think about, but there we go. There should be the Pyro boost now for all Okay, that was the end of that one. The only real problem in that case was that Thrilling Tales was going to Water Dude, where it's not really necessary, but I mean, isn't useless either. So I could think about another book for her, but that would be like the extent of it really. All right, so here we go. We're trying it again here. We're gonna go ahead and do her burst as well. We already got the Pyro infusion, so we shouldn't need to worry about that anymore. Let's go ahead and try a Yanfei charge. We got a nice 32k there. I believe that was a Pyro infusion there, so our Yanfei should be good. And if we can just hurry up and get to some enemies somewhere. Yeah, the rotation is a little strange. I'm not feeling it. Might be I'm just not used to it yet, so there's the bonus at least. Then we gotta get everyone else's stuff. Let's just go ahead and do a Sucrose burst. Try and pull them over here, and then we can start doing some Yanfei stuff. I mean, yeah, I am seeing some pretty big numbers, and those Electro Mages went down so fast. And even without a ton of Elemental Mastery, she can still get her burst back really quick. Also, if you are doing her burst, since it, you know, stays for a while and hits multiple times, you could actually just use someone like Hu Tao, and that should be enough. You do Sucrose's burst, head to Hu Tao, Sucrose's burst is still hitting them, infuse them with Pyro, bada bing, bada boom. Just as an example, of course, that can apply to anyone. Again, though, that would require having her burst. So with that being said, I kind of just want to try that. You can't get all of Sucrose's bonuses without doing her burst anyway. Just gonna start with a Zhongli burst. Water, damn it, I messed that one up, but whatever. And then I guess we're just going to do that, and then do her others just really quick, and then head to Hu Tao, see if we can get a Pyro swirl in there somewhere. Did we? I can't see character details. Just try it again really quick. Just this by itself. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm seeing any Pyros in there. Yo, wait, why does my Ito have the fish? No wonder he's not doing any damage. Who did I give his weapon to? I don't think my fish is even like leveled up or anything, so I'm surprised it took me this long to notice because we also went through all of Chamber 9 with this Ito team. Let's go ahead and try this again, I suppose, although it might just be continually yeah, Hydro. I just feel though like if I had to choose one, it would always be Water Dude over Sucrose for Hu Tao though. Well, let's just go ahead and use her burst to pull those dudes together, and here we should be able to get some Pyro swirls because we haven't used Water Dude yet. But that's kind of the issue. And now we have no Vaporize. Not that it really matters here anymore on an Abyss Lector, because it's just elemental reactions getting rid of the shield and all. But yeah, there was Abyss 9 and 10 anyway. I know there wasn't a ton to show there. Like I said earlier on in the video, I think a lot of her utility comes down to the CC, especially on those, you know, defense leyline stages, as well as of course her particle generation is pretty nice as well. But the stat changes I saw while we were testing her were really impressive. We do have her built mostly for those bonuses, you know. One little Sucrose burst over doubled my Hu Tao's Elemental Mastery, went up to over 300, plus her Pyro, 20% extra there, which doesn't sound like a lot on top of 94%, but it is definitely something. It's just a little hard to pull off in an actual battle with Water Dude always spamming his swords. Didn't get around to DPS Sucrose because, I don't know, I guess it's probably gonna mostly be a meme anyway. Yeah, okay, fine, we'll do DPS Sucrose, whatever. We do have Kagura's Verity by now. Nice little crit damage bump there. We will need Animo damage bonus though. Just get the one with the most like crit damage on it or something. Venti's looks pretty good and it's on the right set, so we can go off piece somewhere else. 2-piece Shimenawa, 2-piece Viridescent. Crit ratio, a little bit meh, but whatever. 80% Animo damage bonus. I don't even know how to like boost animo damage. Like Binny obviously will help a little bit. I guess Zhongli shield, whatever. Can more or less stick with the same team, just don't use Hu Tao. I'd be surprised if we could see anything like 20k. But yeah, we just got some little hilichurls over here for our daily quest. Let's drop Binny boost and start doing some of that. Oh, there was a 26k, all right. 26k. How about some basics? Her basics aren't really raised right now. Let's go ahead and do another Binny boost, but this time a Sucrose burst. Boom, 16. Pulling them in. There's no crit. No crit. Charge attack. 7,400. I mean, I guess I'm surprised a little bit her E is doing 20k. Although, not really that surprised. Try it a couple more times, I guess. 26. We didn't have Zhongli shield at that point. But yeah, I guess some respectable damage there. Would still definitely focus on her support abilities rather than dealing damage. I think there are other characters that can do that a bit better, but you know, it's fine, it's fine. Make sure to tell me what you think in the comments down below. If you have any additional Sucrose tips, feel free to drop them down there as well. Leaving a like or subscribing to the channel if you enjoyed is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.